For those of you listening on the pod,
Jacob waves goodbye. Jacob, have a good day, buddy. We appreciate you, man.
See you guys. You got a show tonight, right?
Yes, sir. That's the plan. Everything goes
to plan tonight.
All right, man.
See you, dude.
All right, so we obviously hit the depth chart pretty heavy there. I think it's important to do that, especially after a couple signings, just kind of reset. When you look at the needs now, Tim, what I'm seeing is you need 2 backup offensive linemen. You need a potential starting wide receiver if the board falls right. Someone who goes the field. There you go. You need I put a starting 3 tech because I want us to put total emphasis on, look, if there is a legit top tier talent 3 tech when you draft, whether it's 23, trade up or trade back, it's that important because you're looking at Kenny's cap number next year and are we going to extend Devontae Wyatt? Those 2 questions are up in the air. Now, if Gutey's probably already made that decision on whether Kenny's going to be back next year or Devontae Wyatt's going to get an extension, probably around camp time if he doesn't pick up the 5th-year option. So with that being said, that's what you're going to be looking for. If we do not draft a 3 tech fairly high in this draft, I think you can pretty much take it to the bank that Kenny and Devontae Wyatt, at least one of those 2, will be back next year, meaning 2026, or they're both going to be back. So if we draft a 3 tech fairly early, they're going to get a little bit aggressive with, hey, let's try to get Kenny to take a big pay cut, or let's maybe not even re-sign Devontae Wyatt. I think they like Devontae Wyatt a lot, and there's been no rumors of a contract extension yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they slap that 5th-year option on him and then negotiate. Just because you hit them with a 5th-year option doesn't mean they're going to play on the 5th-year option, right? I'm pretty sure you can negotiate just like a franchise tag. If you can't, that's a silly rule. And I think I asked this question last year. Nobody had the answer. Drew or anybody in the chat, you guys are so good at this type of stuff. See if you can find out whether a player has ever gotten a 5th-year option and then extended before that 5th-year option ran out, if that makes sense. Okay. So you hit them with the 5th-year option, and whether it was a month later they got a contract extension or if it was November of the next football season while they're playing on the 5th-year option, they got the extension. See, let's just focus on the offseason. Has anyone ever gotten a 5th-year option and then gotten an extension before week 1 of the next year? I would really like to know that if we can figure that out. So, all right, so there's that. Let's look at the remaining free agents. And again, to me, it doesn't look like they're all on this board, Tim, but we'll hit it just to see if any of these names grab your all's attention. This was Spot Track that tweeted this out. The top.
Hey, what about that guy at the top? I've heard of him before.
You want to bring him back, Tim?
I don't know if he'd be comfortable being a backup,
Aaron Rodgers, okay, quarterback. Obviously played for the Jets last year. It sounded like he's probably going to land in Pittsburgh, but the Giants are still in play. The Vikings are still in play. It sounds like it's down to 3 teams, if I'm understanding everything correctly. Cooper Kupp, obviously we talked about him. His previous average annual value is 26.7. I don't think he's going to get nowhere near that, me personally, if he does sign. You got Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, they were talking separation rate last year. He was like 6th in the league in separation rate when he was on the field. The problem is he also separates teammates everywhere.
I was just going to say, the problem is he's going to separate the locker room.
Right. Everywhere he's went, he's been a problem. So that's why I wouldn't have him on my board unless there's a serious sit down like, hey, bro, talk to us. You come in here.
Have a 30-year-old Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Than Stephon Diggs.
So next you got Keenan Allen. Played in Chicago last year. Previous average annual was 20 mil. Obviously, he's not going to get that. I think he'll be under 10, to be honest with you, if he does sign with anyone. Amari Cooper, previous was 20 mil. I'm not as big on Amari as some people are, but he played in Buffalo most recently, it looks like. I think he'll probably be around the 10 million or less mark, something like that. Von Miller, edge defender, as he's old, don't get me wrong, right? He's going to be 36 years old, but that dude just continues to play good football. To me, he's right there with Khalil Mack, that type of signing. You get him for 1 year, maybe 2. That could help put your defensive line over the top.
Yeah, those guys are all in that Bobby Wagner kind of pedigree, right? Like the age, you almost don't consider the age as much as you would normally because these guys are still playing at a high level.
Yeah, I agree. So Von Miller, I would be totally on board with for the right price, of course, for the right price. If you could get him for, like Khalil signed for $18 million, right? And his previous Von's previous average annual value was $20 million. Now, keep in mind that's not the guaranteed; that's just kind of in between. So Von Miller at say $15 million, I'd be all right with. I just don't think Gutey's interested at all. Unfortunately, you know how he is with the aging vets there, old Gutey DiCaprio. So Brandon Cooks, wide receiver out of Dallas, 19.8 was the previous average value. Brandon Cooks was a speed guy in his day. I don't know if he still got that speed. He's not like a towering wide receiver, but he could stretch the field in his prime, no doubt. Deontay Johnson, I'm not very interested in. He's kind of like Stephon Diggs. It's like everywhere he goes, all of a sudden he's on another team.
Yeah.
Probably something there.
The best thing he's got going for him is his age. He's one of the younger dudes. You know, I could see someone taking a 2 or 3 year flyer on him and just seeing if they can get some production, but hopefully not us.
Yeah. Cam Robinson, left tackle from Minnesota last year there, $18 million was his previous average annual value. I don't like that. I think that's too much money for someone who's probably going to play as a backup. Brandon Scherf, guard. There's no spot for him starting there unless you're going to throw both Sean Ryan and Jordan Morgan on the bench. I think the goal is to try to get Sean Ryan on the field once that shoulder's completely healthy. Tyler Lockett, wide receiver from Seattle, not really interested. Marcus, it's amazing how many people were on board with Tyler Lockett coming to Green Bay, but they're not on board with Cooper Kupp. I'm like, that don't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'd much rather have Cooper Kupp than Tyler Lockett, but at this point, it's not like either of them are like hands down better than the other. Marcus Williams, free safety. Matt Judon, edge defender. Joseph Noteboom, tackle out of LA Rams. So, and there's our boy Preston Smith. Gutey just stole the 7th round pick last year, Tim. That's basically what he did, right? So
I love it.
Unless that was
I thought it was a mutual thing, though. I thought Preston had expressed concerns about playing in the
no
43.
doubt.
So,
yeah. No doubt.
He was probably like, hey, let's make everyone happy here, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here if the chat, I think they may have found a couple here. Mike Hebring said Joe Burrow had his 5th year picked up in April of 23 and was extended in September of 23. There you go. That's what I was looking for, Mike. So you can use it to bridge that gap to get the new contract done. That way you cover the bases. And people will go, why would you do that if you're willing to give them a contract? Because if you hit them with the 5th year option, you've got rights to them. Now, that 5th year option is fully guaranteed for that year. That salary is guaranteed no matter if you get hurt or not. So, yeah, it's guaranteed, but also in a new deal, you might get, as opposed to, let's say it's $20 million guaranteed. In the new deal, you might get $40 million guaranteed and a little more security, right, with a 4-year deal or 3-year deal. That's why players typically jump at that. They don't want to be sitting there on a 1-year lame duck. Yes, it's fully guaranteed, but if you tear an ACL, now your value goes down. You just missed out on that additional $20 million that the team may have been offering you in guarantees. If that makes sense. So thank you for looking that up, Mike. That's exactly the example I was looking for, man. So keep our eye on that. Tim, is there anything else you want to add to these available free agents here, man?
Yeah, I'll pass on all of them, except maybe Von Miller, like you said, sweetheart deal, maybe.
Right. And look at us expecting him to take a discount, right?
Yeah,
He's probably not going to happen. And he may even wait until after camp. Think about that. A lot of veterans do that. They stay in shape. They don't want to go through training camp. Hey, more power to them. And then all of a sudden the team loses an edge defender. Go sign Von Miller. He's played in the league how many years? My gosh, 14. Yeah. So, yeah, you're good to go there. But there you go.
Also, you're going to get to a plug and play guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit here about Christian Watson. I seen this stat come across the old X feed earlier, and I just wanted to point it out as Kyle Borgagnoni. Hopefully I'm saying that right. At Kyle_BORG. Go give him a follow.
Here's the guy.
League leaders in yards per route ran. All right, 3 wide receivers on the field. Okay, so I'm thinking that's when they're in an 11 personnel, if I'm understanding this correctly, right? These are the players that led in yards per route ran. Christian Watson was 5th in the league at 3.89. Here's what I said in the tweet, and I wanted to get your take on it, Tim. I was hoping to get Jacob's take, but obviously that first episode went a little too long. I said, I hope Christian Watson is able to go out there in November and secure his contract. It's such a shame that his bag is up in the air because he chose to put the team first and play hurt really says a lot about the man he is. If you guys remember it, and someone had reminded me on Twitter, the reason he kind of bucked on the team and said, I want to be out there, was because Romeo Doubs was sick that week. And I think that was the Bears game. And listen, Bears game really didn't mean that much, but it's the Bears game. I think it says a lot about Christian Watson that he wanted to go out there and play. But I don't hold that against Christian Watson. I hold it against the team. The team should have made him sit. And there's no one that's going to be able to change my mind on that. Like,
I agree.
I don't want to say every, a large percentage of players in the NFL, they want to be on the field, and you've got to protect them. They knew what was going on with that and dealing with the injuries he had throughout the year, and then he ends up tearing the ACL on the opposite leg because he's overcompensating and what have you. If I remember correctly, it was opposite leg. I don't know if that tweet makes sense to you or not, Tim, but the fact that he's going to be penalized for being a team player really bothers me. It does. And now, if the team capitalizes on that, I understand it's a business, and I love my Green Bay Packers, but hopefully in the back of their mind, they're going, hey, look, let's not forget what this dude was trying to do for this team, and wanted to be on the field with his teammates. Does that make sense, man?
It does. And I feel like the happy medium could have been, Coach LaFleur basically letting him dress that day, but not throwing him into the fire like that right away. You got a guy that wanted to play through injury and, wanted to be available. So let him be available, let him dress, bump him down, in the rotation and try and protect those legs. And obviously, he was on the field early and often, and it didn't go well. And you're right. That's tough to see. You got a guy wearing a brace on one leg, and then the other leg, we get an injury. So,
right.
We saw it with Jordan Love too, with the groin and everything that happened. Like you said, guys compensate when you're hurt. But looking at that chart, the thing that's interesting is seeing Rashid Shaheed there on the list. Right. It's like 6 games. Like get this guy off the list. Let's move everybody up.
Right.
We don't have a big enough sample size, so I'd probably put Scoot and everybody up a rung. So AJ Brown to me is probably at the top of this list. But yeah, we know. When you go into that 11 personnel, multiple receiver look, I mean, Scoot is a field stretcher, man. That's what he's here for. So I will say this from what I've been seeing, give Scoot's brother and his pops a follow on social media. They do some great content and breakdowns, and you kind of get some inside information too at how the rehab is going. I know Christian Watson is, I don't think he's taken a day off since any of this has happened. I think he's focused on getting back, and he may shock the hell out of a lot of people and come back way sooner than we thought. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that.
That's what happened with Rashawn Gary, and they rewarded him, right? Like, hey, this dude, he fought his ass off to get back as quick as possible. There's a lot of players that would be like, hey, let me just kind of take this rehab easy. Yeah, Christian Watson had posted, I think it was him that posted the video of him on the treadmill the other day walking. So that's a great sign there. I still think realistically, just based off of like what Jason Wilde has talked about and other people. Now, Tausch is pushing the envelope like, I think you might be back earlier. And Wilde's saying, listen, November. It'll be November.
Maybe they learned that lesson, like you said. He comes back, hey, I'm feeling good. Can I get cleared? And then the staff's like, we don't care if you've been cleared. We're gonna give this another week or two and cover our bases, right?
Yeah. So that's why, like with the tweet, basically what I was trying to say here is as soon as he's healthy and they're ready to roll and everything checks out on both sides, and like Tim was saying, you still want to protect the guy because he's going to want to he's an animal. He wants to be out there on the field. If he's out there for 3 or 4 weeks and he shows he's still got the speed, he can still stretch the field, he's still that same dude, give him that contract. Like, what are we doing? And I'm not saying Christian Watson. You guys know how I feel. Christian Watson should not get top wide receiver money. He shouldn't, in my opinion. Now, he may prove us wrong in year 2 of that new contract and demand a new one, and you got to pay up. But give him what the comps suggest up to this point. You know what I mean? And that's what that market value is on Spot Track. Now, if he does try to play it, play hardball and say, no, I want top receiver money. I want $35 million per. Listen, I'm not unrealistic. I would not sign that deal. I wouldn't. Now you're looking at franchise tag and things like that. But fair market value, what would he be worth based off of his production up to this point in his career, based off of the amount of games played, all those things that a website like Spot Track takes into consideration. Yeah, give him his money if he can prove to get back healthy. Now, if he comes back and he's not the same dude and he's lost a step, you can't be stupid as an organization. You can't just give out a contract just because he did the right thing. Don't take me the wrong way. Just give a fair shot here. Let's don't try to abuse the player because he went out there and, sacrificed, obviously, some many games, many valuable games, many game checks. We don't take that into consideration too, guys. These guys
put his career on the line, basically.
Right. And if he's not on the field, he's not getting that salary check. You know what I'm saying? So, unless there's obviously some other aspects of the negotiation of contracts. So that's all I'm saying, man. Let's just be fair, because it does, man. It broke my damn heart to see him hit that turf. Like, gosh, he should not have been on that field. Yep. And it was him wanting to do it for his teammates, So can't say enough about Christian Watson. All right, next thing here. Obviously, we got another free agent we've talked about a little bit already. Matt Schneidman tweeted this out. Nate Hobbs gets 21, so he's going to be wearing 21. Now, listen, I've seen some people on Twitter uproar, "Oh, you shouldn't wear 21. That should be retired." Guys, we're going to run out of damn jerseys. You can't retire every jersey, right? That's why they're in the Ring of Honor.
Clinton Dix can wear 21, but Nate Hobbs can't wear 21. Stop it.
Exactly. So that's why you got the Packer Hall of Fame. That's why you got the Ring of Honor. That's Aaron's number will be retired. I believe that. Many people believe Aaron Rodgers might be the greatest thrower of the football in the history of the game. Aaron Rodgers was, let's be honest, the reason they won the Super Bowl in 2010. If Aaron Rodgers ain't on that team, they're not winning that Super Bowl in 2010. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to take – you put Ben Roethlisberger, who was the opposing quarterback, right? If you put him at quarterback for the Packers, I don't think they win that Super Bowl. Aaron balled out in it. That's a number that's probably going to get retired. After that, it's going to be a long time before I think we find someone to go, yep, that number deserves to be retired. I mean, you're talking about – and I can't think of them all right off cuff. Obviously, number one is designated for Curly. It's not on the facade, but it is what it is, right? You got Don Hudson at 14. You got Tony Canadeo at 3. Trying to think of who else is up there. Obviously, Brett got added. I was in-house for Reggie White. I'm trying to find my camera and my SD cards to show you guys the video. I've actually got the video from the stands, similar to this view you're seeing on the background right now, when they pulled the green drape up and showed Reggie White's number there. I got to meet his wife that weekend, and I think it was his son. I can't remember if it was I think it was the youngest son that I got to meet. Great people. If I remember correctly, too, his daughter sang the national anthem at that event. So you can't just continue to retire every number. Obviously, Ray Nitschke's another one, right? Number 66, yep. If I remember correctly. So, yeah. So when I seen that on Twitter, I kind of rolled my eyes like, come on, guys. Like, what do you mean he's not allowed to wear 21? I forgot that HaHa wore it, Tim. So, yeah, that really. Yeah,
I mean, we had HaHa. We had Stokes wore it. I mean, why are we mad that Hobbs wears it? I think, if anything, it's good juju right here. Some good energy, good vibes. I mean, remember the last guy, came from the Raiders to Green Bay and wore 21. He was pretty good, right. Charles Woodson. So, I think it's awesome that Hobbs has got 21. I like it.
Definitely. It's all about how you want to look at it, man, for sure.
Yep.
Let's talk about contracts for a second. As Josh Allen got his new contract, I know there was a lot of people in an uproar over Jordan Love last year, whether he's worth it or not. That was the big talking point, the big conversation piece last year. Let's talk about Jordan Love and what his contract actually looks like in regards or in comparison to the other quarterbacks across the league. So this is on Spot Track, overall value. You remember when it was Jordan Love's the highest paid player in the league. He's the highest. They did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Remember the $50 million? That's what you got to take everything into consideration, past deals that's rolled into this, all that, right? But let's just go based off of the contracts we got right now. Overall value, Patrick Mahomes still leads the way at $450 million. Josh Allen, $330 million. Joe Burrow, $275 million. Trevor Lawrence, $275. Justin Herbert, $262. Lamar Jackson, $260. Jalen Hurts, $255. Dak Prescott, $240. Kyler Murray, $230. Deshaun Watson, $230. And then Jordan Love is $11.
Sorry, I got to laugh at that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, right? What do you see the guarantee?
Oh, my gosh.
So Jordan Love is in the number 11 spot in overall value now. What's funny, guys, is he's going to continue to sink on this list as other contracts get put into place. Like, let me give you an example. We won't scroll down. The show ain't long enough for us to scroll down far enough to find what Brock Purdy is making right now. But Brock Purdy is about to leapfrog a bunch of these guys, right? So you're going to drive Jordan Love on down on this list. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. Remember when we were saying get the deal done early, don't wait. Every time you wait, it's like waiting to pay that credit card bill. Next month it's going to be more expensive. Remember Jared Goff leapfrogged us. Here's the difference. His deal, $212 million, Jordan's $220. Those could be flipped. So Jordan, because we waited, he could have been in a 13 or 14 spot, right? That could have happened. Yep. So now when you look at some of the other details, and Tim, it's going to be hard to see here. The average, this is the number that everybody likes to throw out there, right? Jordan Love's tied for second at $55 million per. That's the average annual value. That's the overall contract. But as we always talk about here on this show, look at the guarantee. What was the guarantee at signing? All right. Let's see if this thing can sort without going too blurry on us.
That Deshaun Watson contract's screwing up the website here.
Having to calculate it, ain't so look right there at the top. $230 million guarantee for Deshaun Watson. The next closest one is Josh Allen, who just signed his deal at 147. Joe Burrow, 146. Trevor Lawrence, 142. Lamar Jackson, 135. Justin Herbert, 133. Dak Prescott, 129. Right? Jared Goff, 113. Jalen Hurts, 110. Kyler Murray, 103. Then you get to Jordan Love at $100,800,000. So he's 11th in guarantees. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we were making it sound like Jordan Love is now the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. And then you look at the guarantees and it's hold the phones, right? Another aspect here is the practical guarantee, okay? And we won't get into all the details of what practical means, but Jordan is 11th on that list as well at 160 practical guarantees, meaning if he makes the roster on specific years, that portion of his contract will be guaranteed, but it's not truly guaranteed because the Packers could move on from him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If they decide he's not the guy. So when you break down the contract in its entirety, and let's look at the cap hits and how everything's structured here with Jordan Love, this is where it gets really, really interesting. So let's look at the cap hits. Cap hit this year, okay, 29.6 million in cap. Next year it jumps to 36.1. 2027 it jumps to 42.4, and in 2028 it jumps to 74.2. There's 3 voidable years: 14.2, 14.2, and a 6.3 on the backside in the year 2031. So if they decide to extend him, you've got placeholder years already in place where you can really manipulate the cap. You're going to tack on more years. You'll probably tack on those voidable years on the backside as well. But look at the dead cap attached here, Tim, with Jordan Love. Cap hit 29.6 this year. Dead cap 87.5. There's no way, obviously, they're going to move on from Jordan this year. Next year, 36.1 with 58.9 in dead cap. Okay. So next year, you're not going to move on from him. He's going to be your quarterback next year. Your potential out comes in between 2026 and 2027, where his cap hit jumps to 42.4, but the dead cap attached 31.7. What that means is you could, let's say Jordan hits a wall this year and you go, oh man, I don't know if he's the guy. Next year, he struggles to the point that he loses his starting job, right? Then guess what? In 2027, you can move on, free up $11 million in cap, take a bath with 31.7, and find your quarterback of the future. That's why
this is why we build a statue for Gutey and for Russ Ball. This is exactly why.
It's structured in a way that on the surface, remember the Andrew Brandt video yesterday, the agents, can I put this number out? Absolutely. Hell, lie to them. Tell them it's 80 million per. I don't care. We know what the deal is, right? If nobody's going to dig and actually see how this contract is structured, what's it matter, right? So in 2027, let's walk it back now and say Jordan is the dude. Let's say this year he's an MVP candidate. Let's say next year he wins a Super Bowl for us in 2026. He's the dude. Well, his cap number is going to jump to 42.4. But again, look at the dead cap attached. Look at how the contract's structured. You might be looking at extending him to save even more cap space, in terms of your cap hit in the early years of the latter part of his contract. But also, if you just want to do a restructure, 10.4 in base salary in 2027 with an option proration of 14.2, right? You got a little bit of wiggle room there. But when the cap number really jumps to 74.2 in 2028, his salary is 43.9. You've got all kinds of maneuverability if you just want to convert base salary to signing bonus and spread that over the duration of the voidable contract years, and you're off and running. So That's the difference between the Deshaun Watson contract and the Jordan Love contract and everything really in between. So Mike Hebring with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, rank the NFC North quarterbacks as of today.
All right. Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy.
I can't argue with that. I think that's where I put it too. I would definitely put Jared Goff over Jordan right now with the way he played last year. Now, you ask GMs that question, Mike, they're going Jordan over Jared because they see the arm talent. They see the natural ability that Goff does not possess. If Jordan, he started to play on time even with the 3 injuries he dealt with last year. If he continues to play on time and now he's got his legs back because he's fully healthy from that knee injury, I'm telling you, this year's – I can't wait. I'm trying to stay quiet because I under-promise, over-deliver on everything I try to do in life. I'm expecting Jordan to take a big step this year, and when he does, I cannot wait to go combing through people's Twitter that said he was not the guy. But, yeah, I would agree with Tim. I would go Goff, Love, Caleb, and then McCarthy. Now, people in Minnesota think McCarthy is a dog, people in the building. They could be right. They could be wrong.
He's a national champion, correct?
If that dude, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the year if it ends up being McCarthy takes kind of that Brock Purdy leap, you know?
Sure.
It's possible. Now, again, we're not watching practice. We don't see what's going on behind the scenes, but yeah that's how I would rank it.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Like Mike's saying, as of today, right? Like where we sit right now, how do you feel? I feel like that's a pretty accurate list.
Yeah. Drew D, and again, thank you for the super chat, Mike. Drew D says, we'll extend Love during or after the 2027 season. That's what it feels like. But again, Drew, if he were to just collapse, right, and he's not the dude, that's happened before, guys. I'm not wishing it on Jordan. I don't think it's going to be what happens because we've seen enough of them that I really like the way Jordan plays. I think he's a legit top 10 quarterback. But if that were to happen, all I'm showing is, look, here's where they can get out of this thing and just move forward, as opposed to Deshaun Watson, which they're going to have him cleaning toilets or something if he's not the starter. Like, we got to get our money out of him somehow. You know what I mean? Put him upstairs answering the phone. He's still on the payroll. So, but I'm with you, Drew. That's the more realistic scenario for sure, is just go ahead and extend him after 2027, move that cap around even more, and you're off to the races. So, and the cap there's a boom that's going to happen in the cap, I think, in the next couple of years. I don't know all the details on it, but I've heard multiple people talking about all the deals that are happening, you know, whether it's through the gambling community now and all the money that's filtering in there with all the media deals, and every network wants a piece now of the NFL. You're going to see a big spike in the salary cap again, I think, here real soon, probably in the next 2 to 3 years. So it's funny how all this falls into place perfect. Let's say that happens in 2029. And now you got Jordan's new deal. You don't even feel that aspect of it. So,
yep.
Mick Knott in the chat says Jordan will hit a speeding open receiver. Not a wall. Amen to that, Mick.
Let's go. Hopefully it's Jaden Higgins.
There you go. All right. So again, I just wanted to touch on that contract with Jordan and how he ranks in the quarterback. All those people that got so loud last year, he's not worth this money. He's not worth this money. We're 1 year removed, and he's basically 11th on the list.
Yep.
And it's going to continue to go down. And we hold all the cards as an organization that if he does not end up being the dude, no problem. You can get out after next year. He's going to be the Green Bay Packers contract or quarterback through 2026, hands down, no doubt about it. I think he's going to be the Green Bay Packers quarterback
for the next 10 years.
Probably till he's 33, 34 at minimum.
Yep. I'm with Mick for sure. Jordan's not hitting the wall. He's just going to get better.
Yeah. All right, so we got a question here. I heard this too, and let's talk about it a little bit. SDM40 says, anyone hear the rumblings about Matt LaFleur versus Gutey tensions? Is it garbage talk? Based off of what? I think it was Jason Wilde that said this. Early on, there were tensions between Gutey and LaFleur. I don't want to cause drama. I don't want to spark a big debate. I hate this type of talk. I'd rather talk about what's happening X's and O's on the field, contractually. Let's look at the draft board, that type of stuff. Because 90% of this stuff never even surfaces, much less actually take hold in an organization between a general manager and a head coach. If they don't win, they're both going to be gone. That's the reality of the situation. But he said there was tension early on, and it was kind of like Gutey took no input from Matt LaFleur on what players he wants. I think it's ridiculous that any organization would operate that way. And we know that's how it operated between Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy. We have hard evidence of that happening. And we know that because there would literally be in the press conference, one of the media members would ask Coach Mike, "Hey, what do you think about this signing?" He's like, "I didn't know we signed him, and it just happened an hour or two earlier." There's your evidence, right? I think it's absolutely – I got to choose my words right here. I don't want to say anything not politically correct. I think it's the stupidest thing on the face of the earth to have a general manager and a head coach not be on the same page. That's the one thing that made the Patriots so successful is Bill was the general manager and the head coach. There was none of that middle stuff. And he knew exactly how he wanted to build the team. I'm not saying that's the route you should go. And obviously that's why Ron Wolf or that's why Mike Holmgren left in the first place, because he wanted to be general manager and they didn't give it to him. He left 1 year later. They gave Mike Sherman general manager, head coach. And obviously that whole thing fell apart. He just couldn't handle it. But with that being said, if there's an inkling of the general manager is not getting the head coach's input on what players he wants, I think that's just so stupid, Tim. That's just me. And again, I don't know if it's garbage talk. I don't know if it's as bad as some people report. I think there is something there. I 100% believe that. How bad is it? I don't know. But that stuff drives me crazy, the thought of, you know how it is, dude. Like, whether you're working a job or running a business, if you're not listening to the people who are actually having to work with the employees and put the product on the field or put the product on the street and say, "Hey, here's what we do," and we do it damn well. If the guy up top isn't even listening to the person who's in the trenches actually trying to cook the meal, I just think you're asking for failure, man. I don't know. What do you think about that, man?
I agree. And I also agree with the sentiment that we don't know. This could be all, like SDN saying, like, this could be garbage talk. There could be something there. We don't know in depth. And whether it's Wildy or any of the other, beat writers or reporters that have access, guarantee you they're not in meeting rooms with the GM and the head coach. Right. You can be a fly on the wall at 1265 and, sources say this or whatever. That's fine. It doesn't mean we know for sure that there's, like drama going on. There could be tensions. Sure. I'm sure there's tension in a lot of front offices, especially this time of year, gearing up for a draft and another season. So I agree with you, though. I think a head coach should have input or at least be involved in those discussions. I remember the years we were looking for a receiver and we got, Demarius Randall in the draft. And it's like, having to see Coach McCarthy like find out when we did that there was a signing, that's kind of not a good look. You got to at least be in the loop and you got to have input. Now, the GM can still draft who he wants and sign who he wants, but you'd think you would do that after you've taken some input from your head coach and maybe even your top coordinators, like your OC or your DC may have some input as well. So, ultimately the GM's going to make the decisions, but I agree with you, Clayton. I think the head coach should have some input.
Yeah. And here's the other aspect to it too, and we'll move on. To pretend like if they do have words and they have a disagreement, to pretend like that, oh my God, this is the sky's falling. Welcome to the real world. Every business operates like that. Every football team, like when you see two players arguing on the sidelines, right? Guys, you're in the heat of the battle. That's always happened in the game of football. That's going to continue to happen. Now, when you've got one player who continues to get into it with multiple players, multiple coaches, multiple teams, that's where you got to look up and go, that dude's a turd. Everywhere he goes, it stinks, right? He's the problem. But yeah, I guarantee you they've had heated discussions over, well, I disagree. I thought we should have went here. We actually need this. Why are we going that route? We need this player to be cut from this archetype, not this archetype that you think. Guarantee you those conversations have taken place. And that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. That can be healthy too. Like Bill Walsh quote, "If everyone's thinking the same thing, no one is thinking." You got to have differing opinions to put the best product together. And if you're not willing to shut up and listen to those differing opinions, then you're just asking for failure. You're a narcissist. You just want to run the show. I'm the smartest dude in the room. Everybody shut up, get in line. They tried to paint the picture of Aaron Rodgers being that guy. listen, I'm not trying to start a fight or an argument with anybody, but if you go back and listen to his complaints at that time, look at those draft classes. We're not willing to trade a pick or two because we love our picks so much that we're not willing to go get this player if it makes all the sense in the world. And I'm not talking about DK Metcalf, guys. That's crazy overpaying that much for that dude. I'm sorry. That's just silly. But
we got breaking news, Clayton. Unfortunately,
he said this sounds big. Tim, what you got?
Eric Wilson agrees to terms with the Minnesota Vikings. Looks like Eric Wilson's going back to the Vikings.
It's a good signing. It's a good signing. Yeah, we don't know how much. I can't imagine it'd be for much at all. But any kind of terms on that deal?
I don't know. I'm not seeing that, and nothing super official yet. But I'm seeing multiple reports here that he agreed to terms with the Vikings. So I would assume as the day progresses, we'll get the specifics. But Alec Lewis on Twitter X is reporting this.
No,
and he's out of Minnesota. So
okay, that's legit then.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Good deal. All right, well, congratulations, Eric Wilson. We look forward to trying to kick your ass this year. How about that?
Yes, sir.
I really liked him, though. He played the game the right way, man. Drew D with the super chat. Thank you, boy. He says, before free agency, filling needs in the draft felt impossible. Now filling our needs in the draft feels certain. It's kind of what we did the other night with our latest mock, Drew. The one thing I noticed is before it's, oh, yeah, but we need a corner. Oh, yeah, but we need this. Oh, yeah, but we need that, right? The needs are becoming a lot easier to accomplish now. Like, I can't wait until we have an answer on Ja because I want to be able to mark off that starting corner need on our board because I'm still seeing it. If Ja's not on the roster, we need to go find that number one corner potentially in the draft, if at all possible. So once we mark that need off, man, the needs look really good. That's still the heaviest need for me. Even though we signed Hobbs, it's like we need to know about Ja. We got to know what we got there, Ja. And they may see Carrington as that starting corner opposite Hobbs and think they're good there. I'm just not quite there yet. And you guys know I'm a big Carrington fan. That dude has played damn good football this year. So,
and not just because he's a Kentucky boy, right?
No, you guys know, hopefully you've caught on by now if you watch the show. I try to be really hard on Notre Dame guys and Kentucky guys. Because one of my biggest pet peeves are fans that they love their college team and they'll hop up and talk up their right. We need this guy on the team. We need this guy on the team. I really try to remove that from my Packer fandom because it hardly ever works out. You end up, wanting something to happen with your heart as opposed to using your head and going, does that really make sense? So I try to be Benjamin Morrison. There's people making a case for Benjamin Morrison at 23. I keep talking about on our board. I don't see it at 23 guy. I don't see it as good value. If they draft him at 23, I'm going to be going, we got us an Irish, but I got to be realistic too. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Tim. It's with Carrington. I was hard on him his rookie year.
Yeah,
I would always say he's a 7th round pick. What do you expect? Last year, I went, damn, this boy playing ball. All right, let's go. So appreciate the super chat, Drew. I completely agree with what you said there, man. It is a lot easier to do mock drafts after this free agent. And what's crazy is some fans are like, man, they screwed the pooch in this free agency, and others like us are looking at it going, these signings made a lot of sense. Made a whole lot of sense. So. This is funny. We'll wrap up with a little bit of fun here, a little bit of drama across the league, Tim. If I can get the right one pulled up. I don't know if you've seen the video from Rasul or from
this is hilarious.
So give me a screen grab because I don't want to get in actually no, you don't have to. I'm going to keep it off the screen, okay? There was a local news station that played this clip. Let me do this to get it queued up. Played this clip of Eric Stokes and what he had to say about playing in Green Bay. It's funny how these always come out after they leave, but here's what Eric Stokes had to say. Quote, after about 10 o'clock, there's nothing to eat in Green Bay. I'm excited to show my big back activities. Here we go. Here's what he said. And this is, again, Eric Stokes in Vegas now.
I ain't gonna lie.
Oh.
Yeah. I ain't even sugarcoat it to you. Yeah, Green Bay is different. I love Green Bay. I absolutely love Green Bay. But after about 10 o'clock, there's nothing else to eat in Green Bay. So I'm really excited for like the food options here that I can really show my big back activities. And yeah, I just can't wait.
All right, so obviously he said that, right? And here's the best part. Rasul Douglas called him on it. and quote tweeted him and put, "That MF used to eat all the bread at Texas Roadhouse." Tim, this broke me up, man. Broke me up. I do like that he said he loved Green Bay and put a little, you know what I mean? It's all tongue in cheek. Can I be real, though, about this, Tim? You live in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's slim pickings late night.
You tell me I'm wrong. We flew into town the first night we got there. We were in town for Monday Night Football against the Rams. And we flew into town on like Wednesday or Thursday. And we got in to our hotel at like 10:30. I'm like, hey, let's get some food. Let's get some food delivered. I'm starving.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, we couldn't find anything. Pizza joint ended up delivering to us, which was good. I can't remember the name, or I give them a shout out so they can sponsor the show. But now he's right about the slim pickings, but I don't know. I love that place, man. I love Green Bay. What did you think about this? I thought it was cool that Soul called him out, man.
No, it's hilarious, and it shows you the bond that you form with teammates when you've got guys that all play together. They're all on different teams now, and they're all just still ribbing each other and having fun, roasting each other on Twitter. I mean, it's fun to see. It really is. Shout out to Blackstone though in Green Bay. There is a 24-hour restaurant in Green Bay. Go to Blackstone if you want. I don't know if they're doing I don't know if Uber Eats picks up from there or not, but you can go grab you some late night eats over there. And there's a couple places. It's not complete ghost town, but it's definitely not as many options as a larger city for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. Last thing here, just a little drama indeed. We kind of talked about it earlier today on the show, and then we'll wrap up. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but so Micah Parsons quote tweeted a thing with does it Dexter Lawrence? Is that his name? No, DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm sorry. Get those mixed up. He said, quote, "Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there." So Micah Parsons quote tweeted that and said, This is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown poopy. We'll censor it. Then DeMarcus Lawrence responded and said, "Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left." So Micah Parsons, has he gotten his new contract yet, Tim? I can't remember. I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So he's obviously taking shots at DeMarcus Lawrence. Here's the tweet I put out, and I mean this from the bottom of my soul. I said, "This is worse than the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Everybody just talking from a distance like they're going to do something. It's clown central. Like, why not get together and have a conversation, boys? Why are we doing this?" That's the whole halftime show afterwards, after it's over. And at the time, I couldn't realize, why is everybody losing their mind over this, man? They love it. And I'm like, kind of a mediocre show. Like, I can't hear what he's saying. The sound was bad, on the telecast and this and that. I had no background of the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef. Listen, I grew up with Biggie and Tupac when stuff was real. Like,
Yes,
and I'm not saying anything needs to get to that level. That's absolutely ridiculous that a music industry can fuel two people losing their life. But these people today trying to act like they're hard, and they won't say it to each other's face. You ever seen the video where they got the gate closed and these two dogs are just ready to kill each other? They open the gate and they just stop barking. That's what it feels like. So I don't know.
I'm going to bet. Does Seattle play the Cowboys this year? We'll have to look up the opponent list. I'm assuming there might be a matchup. I'd be willing to bet those two dudes are buddy shaking hands before the game like nothing happened. So
that would be interesting for sure, man.
For sure.
J. Cole said Lawrence did tell the truth. He kind of did, didn't he? He did.
Yep. Truth hurts, right?
Yep. Look,
we're going to give him some.
H.E. Soder said Clayton has crossed into the old man back in my day zone. Soder, I've been there for a couple years now, man. It's rough over here in these waters.
My knee.
SDM40 says Longwell should have texted Stokes' Applebee's number.
Oh my gosh, I love
you guys remember that. So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I think Stokes will be fine out there in Vegas, right? I mean, you can just spin around and find a place to eat all the time, anything you want. You want to get sushi at 4 a.m, you can do it in Vegas.
Yeah, no doubt. J. Cole says Kendrick and Drake never liked each other. Here's my thing. Like, you want to raise some money for a good cause? Get with Barstool Sports and go, hey, let's go out there, 10 rounds, put the gloves on. But they won't do that. That's what cracks me up, is everybody just talking, and nobody's doing
internet tough guys, right?
That's it. But Drew D said back in my day, we didn't have the internet.
That's right. Yeah,
But
and
anyway,
back in our day, if you talk that talk, someone was gonna pull up, as they say nowadays.
Exactly.
You would get met in person real quick if you were talking crazy.
Yeah.
Now people talk crazy online with impunity. So
you guys double check this for me. I think this is a real thing, by the way. In this same vein, and we'll wrap up. You guys remember John Rocker, pitcher for the Braves back in the day? Just made some stupid comments over his. Listen, he's one of those dudes. He's polarizing. He's going to say some stupid stuff that you go, what did that idiot say? And then you got Patrick Mahomes' father, who's gotten how many DUIs? I don't know. He needs to get his crap together too, right?
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff.
They're having some kind of celebrity boxing match. Now, John Rocker looks like he's roided up.
Rocker's going to knock his ass out.
That's what it seems
Sorry.
like. But, who knows, man? Maybe Pat Mahomes, Papa Mahomes might get out there and work a little Floyd Mayweather Jr. and wear him down. I don't know. But that's everybody in the chat. Rocker's going to kill him. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Newsflash, they're both going to be tired by the end of the first round.
Right, exactly. They may just shake hands after 45 seconds. Go, hey, let's get their check and get out of here. All right,
I'm thinking it might look something like the Tyson Jake Paul fight.
I can see that. Yeah. So anyway, and listen, I understand. With all this talking and the beefing and listen, that's today, right? That's how everything is today. I had a buddy of mine said, what's hilarious is people don't realize they're both raking in on this. It's all about ratings. It's all about selling albums. That's all it was. When it comes to the Kendrick, my big thing is like people getting mad that you say you didn't like the Super Bowl or you didn't like the halftime show because you didn't understand the beat. Well, you're just ignorant. Ignorant to what? Two grown ass men acting like they're mad at each other and putting it in a song. Like, yeah, you're right. I ain't got time for that. I'm out here trying to pay bills, make a little difference in this crazy world. Y'all getting just seeing people's reaction to it. It was just like they were so fired up. Like, well, y'all are really invested in this. If it is a fake beef, like Reef said, it's lyrical beef. Yeah. So I guess it ain't real. I don't know. I'm too stupid to realize it, but I did, like I said, I thought it was comical seeing people defend the halftime show. Like, the best was being called a racist because you didn't like it. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, that's 2025, man.
What's it got to do with race? You kidding me? Like
race only matters to racists.
Yeah, that's
usually if you're the one bringing up race all the time, you're probably the racist.
Good point. Mike Tomlin said that on a podcast one time, and he literally preferenced it with it was a podcast. It might have been with Peter Schrager and some of the other minority coaches that he came up in the business with. But he said, we used to say something in that meeting room that get us canceled. Today it's Mike Tomlin saying this. Mm-hmm. He said, if you're race sensitive, you're a racist. That's what he said. And I was thinking, boy, that's a home run right there. That pretty much sums it up.
If we needed another reason to love and respect Mike Tomlin,
right.
There's one there.
Absolutely. All right, let's get out of here, man. We covered it all. We covered the hip hop world. We did it all today, Tim. We changed the world. So anything else, man?
No. Bye, Eric Wilson. Best of luck, except twice a year when you play us.
Yeah, I think it's a good signing. Sucks, but again, it's not like it's going to revolutionize their team, but that's a good quality depth signing. And people go, well, he's old. You seen the way that dude takes care of himself? Like if anybody's going to be able to play linebacker, to the age of
31 going on 21. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I love the people that say, oh, well, he's old. He's too old to sign. And you look at him and then look at them with their Cheeto stains on their whitey tighties. Like, yeah, bro, I think he's going to be fine. But again, like you said, man, let's run through his face when we play him for sure. So,
Here we go. SDN Clayton versus his wife after a 90-minute podcast. I got $20 on the wife.
Hey, me too.
Put me down for 20 on Mandy. I got Mandy too.
Put 50 down for me on Mandy, and I'll just at least I'll make some money after this ass whooping. So that's the way that'll work. Anyway, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tonight, 7 p.m. Central for PTA Live. Hit that like on the way out. Thanks to everybody on all platforms checking us out. Make sure you go subscribe to the podcast over at Packernet Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to Frodo Begs for Change. Love the name. Super Chat. Mike Hebring with the Super Chats and Drew D with the Super Chat. You guys are awesome. We'll see y'all tonight. Everybody have a great day.
And we gone.
We out.
All right.
We're out. Bye, guys.